All right, moving through the tabs of the student progress monitoring dashboard, the next one we're going to look at is assessments. As I've mentioned in other videos, if you've watched other ones, we continue to make lots of changes as we go through development of this particular dashboard. So as we work with teachers and principals to get feedback on what's important, we're making tons of changes all the time. So the version that you're looking at might look really different. One thing that's definitely going to be different is that there are more assessments on your version than there are on this demo example version with our fake data. So when this one was made, we only had MAP, CMAS, and PSAT, SAT, but now you'll also see DIBELS and potentially even more. To navigate through the different assessments on this assessment tab, you can click on each of these buttons and it will change the visuals to show you how those students performed on each of those assessments. So here we have some CMAS data, and I can click on the PSAT, SAT, and see how those students performed on those assessments if that's relevant. So if you don't teach students who have taken those assessments, so if your students are in 12th grade, then they haven't taken the CMAS. If your students are in 5th grade, then they haven't taken the PSAT and SAT. But you can navigate through those different assessments just by clicking on those purple buttons. If you want to look at a subset of students, just as a reminder, that filter pane pops out and you can choose a particular grade level, particular course, etc. This map achievement table or visual shows us the distribution of those map scores for the 3 most recent assessments. So at the time of recording, the 3 most recent assessments were the mid-year 23-24, beginning of year 23-24, and the end of year 22-23. So we can see how those students' scores changed across that particular time period. If you click on any one of the sections, it will show you which students performed in that category. So this is the students who scored low on the end of year 22-23 in mathematics, and I just have 2 students there. I can hold down Control and click another one of these little sections to add those students on as well. So now I've selected low and low average for the end of year mathematics 22-23 school year. I can also pick, let's look at like students who scored in those for both the beginning of year this year and mid-year this year. And then I can also see how those students' growth percentile, or how those students' percentile changed from beginning to mid of this current school year. And here are all of the students and what their particular performance levels were. If we want to dig deeper into an individual student's assessment scores, then clicking on the student and clicking the button, which yours is above the table, we moved that up based on teacher feedback. It hasn't been moved from this version. But when you click on one student, then you can click on View Student Information, and it takes you to the individual student dashboard, which has all of the details for that individual student. On the CMAS tab, you'll see a similar graph that shows their most recent CMAS performance level and the CMAS scale score change from the 2022 school year to the 2023 school year, and a table of students that has all of their scores. For PSAT and SAT, we have a visual that shows the proficiency level that students scored for the PSAT 10, PSAT 8-9, or the SAT in both English language arts and math. And we also have a graph that shows whether students have met their college and career readiness benchmark from the PSAT or the SAT. Here's the table of students, their proficiency levels, their benchmarks, etc. Again, on the current version, there's also a tab for DIBELS where you can see a distribution of DIBELS scores from the test terms that are available. If you want to look at only a subset of students, again, you can open that filter. Maybe I only want to look at my 11th grade students. I'll close this filter. I want to see how they're doing on their PSATs and SATs, and I get that graph there. Anytime you want to reset filters that have been selected, you can click the reset button on your version. It is with these other icons. On my version, it's at the bottom, but we moved it up to make it easier for people to see. So you'll see it up there. And that's the assessment tab.